Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another one of those shows that we just kind of hate to do, but unfortunately they happen. We're here to announce the death of another great musician that I'm sure many of us have loved quite a bit throughout the years because the band that this particular gentleman fronted and was a founding member of, Savoy Brown, has left us after all these years. Kim Simmonds, the great Kim Simmonds, guitarist, vocalist, founding member, chief songwriter of British blues legend Savoy Brown, has left us at the age of 75. He actually passed away on the 13th, 2 days ago. His family just announced it today on the 15th of December 2022. He leaves us at the age of 75 after what appears to be a prolonged battle with stage 4 colon cancer, which he's had for quite some time. They kept this pretty quiet. Apparently, he had kind of broken the news to those around him in August of 2021, which is about a year and a half ago. And he had been taking chemotherapy and battling it as best he could, but apparently it kind of came roaring back in recent months, and he succumbed to the disease just this month here in December. So, right before the holidays, kind of a crushing blow for the British blues and rock scene. Such a dynamite guitar player. Really, really an amazing guy who, with a series of fantastic albums, especially the early ones, just a mainstay of what's ultimately known as the British blues movement in the mid to late 60s. And such a stinging guitar attack, very melodic player, and a really soulful voice too. And he was basically the mainstay of Savoy Brown. Savoy Brown, along with Fleetwood Mac and Chicken Shack, and 10 years after, many other bands that Jethro Tull certainly, who kind of broke somewhat big in the mid 60s and continued on throughout into the 70s. Savoy Brown went from being a basic blues band to adding more rock elements, even latter parts of the 70s and into the 80s, even sometimes even referred to as a hard rock band. But at their core, you had this very soulful vocalist and a just very, very melodic, tasty guitar player who influenced a great many. So just to kind of take you through some of the classic albums, if you were someone watching this who is maybe looking to experience the music of Kim Simmonds and Savoy Brown, or maybe a longtime fan who just kind of wants to reminisce a little bit about some of those great records. And I have some of these excellent BGO releases, which have like 2 classic albums in one set. Here we got the Shakedown and Getting to the Point. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning here. All right, 1967 and 1968. 2 really strong albums. Blue Matter and A Step Further. And again, let's remember a couple of guys from Foghat, right, got their start in Savoy Brown. You also had Paul Raymond, who wound up in Michael Schenker's band, as well as UFO, got his start in Savoy Brown. Blue Matter and A Step Further, 2 really excellent albums. Here's where things for me really start to take a turn for the excellent Raw Sienna and Looking In. These are all classic Savoy Brown albums. Again, you got some boogie, you got some straight blues, you got some rock, you got that blues rock and boogie stuff. Looking In, terrific album. Again, Raw Sienna's good. I mean, these are fine albums. Here you got Street Corner Talking and Hellbound Train. All right, so as you can see, there's Paul Raymond here. Let's take a look at some of the lineups for these up. So Dave Bidwell on drums, Paul Raymond keyboards, guitar, Andy Sylvester bass guitar, Kim Simmonds lead guitar, Dave Walker on vocals. Of course, Dave Walker would go on to join Fleetwood Mac briefly for a couple albums. Briefly sang for Black Sabbath after Ozzy left, and then left the band again when Ozzy came back. Right, so a lot of fantastic musicians. Another great thing about Kim Simmonds, which I don't think he gets credit for, along with like Frank Zappa and along with like Miles Davis, right? Some of these great band leaders who throughout their careers and the bands they led would bring in lots of fantastic players, and then when they were ready to go break out and do their own thing, would give them a stamp of approval so they could go on and make names for themselves after they already got their start in this band. So this was like, Savoy Brown was like a launching pad, same thing with John Mayall's Blues Breakers, right? A launching pad for so many great musicians that Kim Simmonds helped mentor and kind of send on their way into an even bigger career, right? Here we go. We continue on. Lion, Cher, and Jack the Toad. Some more great albums here. Here's a fun one here. Boogie Brothers and Wirefire. Of course, the Boogie Brothers would bring together Kim along with, God, I'm forgetting the name, Stan Webb, right, from Chicken Shack. You got Miller Anderson also on guitar, so you got the 3 guitar players in that. Jimmy Leverton bass, Eric Dillon on drums. And those 3 would play on both of these albums here, which are a lot of fun. Again, good up-tempo boogie rock stuff. Lots of dueling guitar solos there. As we kind of get ready to move into the 80s, you got Skin and Bone and Savage Return. The band becoming more of a blues rock band, emphasis on the rock here. Here you have their big hard rock, almost moving into new wave of British heavy metal time here. Rock and Roll Warriors. All right, there's some serious oomph going on this album. They even looked the part on there, right? Savoy Brown becoming headbangers, right? Sort of. You got Ralph Mormon on here, John Humphrey, Kim Simmonds, of course, Keith Boyce, and Barry Paul. All right. And then this is the last Savoy Brown album that I received to review, and this kind of prompted me to interview Kim Simmonds just a couple of years back. So it's like, it just seems like when I talked to Kim, probably was right before he was diagnosed with cancer. So it was a pleasure spending some time with Kim, and little did I know that Kim has been living up in upstate New York for a number of years, and he's been a fellow New Yorker, and it was just great to connect with him. So if you haven't seen the interview I did with Kim Simmonds back in 2020, late 2020, I believe, go check that out here on the channel. It was a lot of fun. Witchy Feelin'. Fine album, which saw Kim in excellent form. There he is, jamming away on his trusty Gibson Les Paul. Yeah, man, what a, alongside some of those other legends of the, the British blues time, Kim Simmonds and Stan Webb and Eric Clapton and Mick Taylor and Peter Green and Danny Kirwan and all these, legendary, mainly known originally as blues guys, Alvin Lee and, so many other players, and a lot of them gone, sadly. And Kim, considering how long he has been around on the scene, he was a really young kid when he kind of helped form Savoy Brown all those years ago. Because when you think about it, he was recording and playing mid-'60s. Savoy Brown comes out with the debut album in 1968, right? So, a lot of other guys who were around at the same time are already pushing 80. So Stan had just turned 75. So, yeah, he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed. And a really original player, a very melodic player with a very recognizable tone, nice vibrato. And again, most of the time throughout his career, a Les Paul guy. So he had that very distinct Les Paul tone, and just always never a guy to overplay. A lot of his solos just sounded perfect in the song, but and a really good singer as well. So, yeah, what a shame. Really nice guy. It just, sometimes when you actually speak to and interview some of these legends, right, and then we lose them, you feel like a little part of you got to know them to an extent, even if it was ever so briefly, and it's kind of sad when they leave us. We always appreciate and respect their music and their musical abilities, but when you've had the chance to kind of spend some time with them, like I said, even if it was really briefly, it kind of hurts a little bit more. So Kim Simmonds leaves us at the age of 75 on December 13, 2022, and he's now up there playing with the rest of the greats. So Kim, rest in peace. We'll miss you, but we've got all this great music and more. Savoy Brown and Kim Simmonds have a ton more albums than these. These are, to me, the classic ones. But there's tons of more music to investigate. So I know everybody will be going and listening to their
Savoy Brown stuff. So we will miss you, Kim, but your music will live on forever. Thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Rest in peace, Kim Simmonds. We'll see you real soon here on the channel. I'm Pete Pardo. Bye-bye.